What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. Are you not entertained? Today on the program, I have Johnny Goss. Who's Johnny Goss? What? You don't know? Well, stick around. In the next few minutes, you're going to find out more about Johnny Goss. Now, this week's shows, I have one public show this week on Friday night over at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. That's the Rab, R-A-B, up on the hill. It's that one is a 21 and over club, and they got a full bar. The kitchen's open, pool tables. In fact, they have a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try to make some money playing pool, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. And of course, I'm running the video dance party karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. All I'm doing is pressing buttons and playing music. And maybe I'll play some music from the guy you're going to be listening to today. Ooh, I guess I gave you a hint of who Johnny Goss is. All right, well, I got, let's see, Saturday. Oh, I'm free. I'm free on Saturday. Usually Saturdays are meant for weddings and events and private parties and such. But I have nothing this Saturday, so I guess I'm going to be relaxing this weekend. What are you doing this weekend? All right, well, right now I'm going to talk to Johnny Goss. I got Johnny Goss on the Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Well, let's get into it with Johnny Goss. Skyping Johnny Goss now. There he is. It's Johnny Goss.
How you doing, Dan?
It's so good, man. Oh, I like your little background. I like the guitars in the background. For those that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube, and you'll get to see the handsome Johnny Goss as we live and breathe. Oh, the vapors.
Checks in the mail.
Well, all right. Now that I have you on the podcast, the What Makes You Famous podcast, my name's Dan, Keys Dan, and you are Johnny Goss. That's about all I know about you. I know you play a little music, but if you can, give the people an idea of who you are.
Well, I'd be happy to. Like you said, my name's Johnny Goss. I'm from Alexandria, Alabama, and I am very honored to play in a band called Valley Road. Me and a partner formed this band 14 years ago this past April, so we just had a 14-year anniversary, and we thought that we would probably just play some local small places, maybe your mom and pop's restaurants, and we played at a couple of catfish weigh-ins and fish tournaments, and we made the big time here in our county in northeastern Alabama, which is we're nestled in the foothills of the Appalachian mountain chain. And it actually grew a lot bigger than that, a lot quicker than we had ever dreamed. So since then, we've opened for the biggest bands in the business, and we've shared the stage with the biggest bands in the business. And we've just been really blessed, and we've had a lot of fun, and we've made a lot of music, and hopefully made a lot of people happy with our music.
Well, Johnny Goss, I want you to give credit where credit is due. You're allowed to name drop. You can talk about the people that have helped you along the way, that have inspired you along the way. I always like to think of this as a teaching podcast, and I want people to learn from you, Johnny Goss, how you became the musician that you are, the person that you are, because you're not just one thing. People are very nuanced. They have lots of different avenues. But 14 years ago, you started this band, or you were in this band. Were you one of the founding members?
I was. Myself and Luke Ford founded the band, and we needed a bass player. And Luke's dad had been a friend of mine for many years, and I looked at him and said, if you'll learn how to play the bass, I'll teach you. And he said, find me one. So we did, and we taught him how to play the bass, and then boom, there we went. And it's all been just wow. I can't, so many shows since then, hundreds of them, I guess. I can't even remember them all. And very, very thankful, very thankful. Influences for me personally, musically. Well, personally, my mom and dad. I was raised in a very loving Christian home, and I'm very thankful for the raising that I had, and that influenced my life tremendously. And as far as musically, gosh, I don't know of very many that haven't influenced me. Anybody from Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed to Dan Fogelberg to Doc Watson to Tony Rice to James Taylor. I could go on and on and on and on about the influences on me and my particular style of playing music. Is that kind of what you were after?
No, you know what's funny is I hadn't listened to a Chet Atkins song in the longest time, and this morning I popped one on, and it's just Chet Atkins. I guess could you call him the father of electric guitar, the man who actually made it go, or who would you put? Where would you put Chet Atkins on the list?
The father of the electric guitar was Les Paul,
for sure.
But Chet Atkins, he made it. I can't even think of the word for what Chet Atkins was. He was magical. He was Mr. 12 Fingers as far as finger picking style plays. Chet Atkins is to finger picking what Tony Rice was to flat picking. And gosh, man, I cried when both of them passed away. I really did.
Yeah, I mean, the man's I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't listened to him in a while, but I listened to the song and I was going, hey man, that's Chet Atkins, and he's a novelist and very distinctive. And if you're going to have somebody to emulate, that would definitely be one. But I listened to guitarists and I until just recently I had several guitars. They got stolen. I just moved, so they got stolen. They were in a storage unit, and the right half of the storage unit was stolen. That was 4 different guitars. I had a Ibanez 120, a Squier Strat, which is the lower end of the Fender line, and then the Esteban classical guitar. And my grandma had just given me this guitar she bought in Spain back in '57. So I hate that I've lost those guitars, but I really don't know how to play them that well. But I was aspiring to play them. I learned a few chords, here and there. Nothing that I could take on stage. I'm primarily the guy that plays your music. When you make the music, I play your music. And I'm very happy to do that. I'm very happy to know people such as yourself that can have ideas in their head, rhythms in their head, and can make them come out with their magic fingers. You say Chet Atkins had 12 fingers, metaphorically speaking. But, where did you get your start in music-wise? Is this something that's been with you your whole life? Because you say mom and dad inspired you a bit.
Grew up in church, and I always loved singing the church music, the old Baptist hymns. And I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, probably 5. And my mom went to a yard sale and brought home an old flat top guitar, and the strings were about 3 inches off the frets, and it was just impossible to fret. But my mom had a really great ear for music, and so she tuned it in open tuning. And then my daddy loaned me his little pocket knife, and I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I was playing that guitar dobro style because it sounded pretty. And I knew if I moved his knife up and down that neck, I could make it sound different. And that's where it started. And then a few years later, some boys in my 6th grade class taught me how to play Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash. And from that point on, it's never ended. I've been playing it ever since.
Well, I know if you're looking at me on the video, I'm nodding knowingly, but I don't know how. Some of the words that you said are very foreign to me. I'm guessing I know what a flat top is, but give me a definition or an explanation of what a flat top is. Is that the one you play on like a keyboard, face down? Tell me about it.
It was a flat top guitar, and it was intended to play, upright like a regular guitar. But I was little, my hands were weak, and the strings were really high off the fret, so I played it down on my lap like a dobro guitar. And thank God, my mom recognized pretty early, hey, he's going to pursue this. We better get him a better guitar. So they got me a better guitar. And then I've just added to the collection through the years. I've still got that first old guitar. I've got my second guitar. I've got my third guitar, and so on down the line. That I get emotionally attached to them. But the guys in the band, they won't let me play but certain guitars, because in bluegrass circles, you've got to play a good flat top guitar. And in certain circles, if it's not a Martin, you can get beat up. So this is not a Martin. That's a Husson Dalton. But I think people have loosened up a good bit now to where they don't really care what brand you play as long as you play it well. And so I just try to play as good as I can, and I surround myself with really, really great musicians in the band, and they cover up my mistakes. So that's the secret.
Well, Johnny Goss, I liken the Martins and the Taylors to was it Harley Davidsons and maybe Indians? That kind of level where people are very snobby, and they got to have their certain brands, and they only go for those brands. But it's not because the brands are like your Jordache jeans, where they just look good. They actually sound good. They have the quality that has been known for years and years and years. You say you had a Martin, but you don't play that one all that often, or you don't?
No, I've got two other Martins, and then I've got this Husson Dalton, and that's my go-to guitar. That's the one I play more than any of them. And a lot of people have never heard of Husson Dalton. Jeff Huss, I want you to sponsor me. Husson Dalton guitars, they're great guitars, and I've played this one for years, and got many compliments on it. So need a sponsorship, Jeff, if you're listening. I'll send this to you later. But anyway, our mandolin player is sponsored by Ratliff Mandolins, and a lot of people hadn't heard of Ratliff Mandolins. It's just he's a small independent luthier, and he builds world-class mandolins. So it to me, it really doesn't matter what the brand says on it. For that matter, I keep a tuner up on the headstock of my guitar, so most of the time people don't know what brand it is anyway, and that serves two purposes. If I'm not sponsored by them, I'm probably not going to advertise for them, and I need my tuner on there anyway. So win-win.
I got you. I have a friend named Ryan Hinman. He's a guitarist as well, but he works over at Palmer Music down the street, our local music shop. And that man, he modifies guitars. The craftsmanship that goes into these, you say this Huss is a smaller, and the mandolin maker is a smaller manufacturer. These people that can take a piece of wood or several pieces of wood and make them into a musical instrument, that's an amazing accomplishment in itself, an amazing feat of skill.
Art.
Yes.
It's an art.
For sure. Is this something you got into? You say that you modified that flat top, and I'm still not quite sure. I don't have that picture in my mind of what a flat top is, and I'm sure I'll look it up a little bit later to figure out what a flat top is. What makes it a flat top?
This is a flat top guitar.
What is it that makes it a flat top?
Well, generally speaking, the guitar is flat all the way across the top. There is an ever so slight radius in it. But back in the old days, when there were basically two type of guitars in America, a flat top and an arch top, this is what you got in a flat top. So this is a traditional dreadnought size guitar, and Martin is the best worldwide known maker of flat top guitars ever, but I know of many other luthiers and small shops that make just absolutely wonderful instruments. But
yeah, as a musician, you're going to come up with your go-tos. You're going to find one. How did you come across that particular guitar where you said, I got to buy that one, or I had to have that one? Was it gifted to you? I mean, because most people would go for the Martin or the Taylor.
No, it wasn't. And I was, when I went on a search for a new flat top guitar, it was all about the sound and the way it played. Had nothing to do with the name or the way it looked. I was in a small guitar shop in Birmingham called Fretted Instruments of Birmingham. And Herb, if you're watching this, I want a sponsorship. But anyway, I'd gotten to be friends with the owner, and he was just a super good guy. He's been a bluegrasser for 1,000 years. And I was sitting there just wailing away on this other guitar, and I thought, wow, this guitar sounds really good. And in all of his expert salesmanship and all the technique that he had honed through the years, he walked up and snatched that guitar from me and put this guitar in my lap and turned around and walked out. And I hit one chord on that guitar, and that was it. I knew that was it. I knew that was the guitar for me. So later, Herb told me, you don't choose the guitar chooses you.
That's an amazing story, man. And
that made a lot of sense to me.
And how long has that guitar been with you?
Almost since the beginning, almost 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And okay. So before this, you were growing up 5 years old, going to church, and you had that first guitar. How long did it take for you to become proficient on it? And who was teaching you? And did you have formal lessons, or was this something that was self-taught?
Well, we didn't have YouTube or anything like that back in those days. So
what days were they? Let's go with years.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. I'll tell my age.
I'm 52 years old. I celebrate it.
This must have been about 1974-ish. And my mom knew that I was going to pursue this. And so she found a local guitar teacher, and his name is Craig Dobbins. He has his own website. He's all over Facebook. He's internationally known finger picker. And within 2 years, by the time I turned 12, I was actually teaching guitar lessons at home and still continuing my lessons from Craig. And I took lessons from Craig till I was about 17, I guess. And then I just kind of went wild and went on my own and started doing my own thing. And it wasn't long after that I was, forming bands, playing in bands, or sitting in with other bands, and started playing gigs at places. Besides churches, I played a lot of churches, but it wasn't until we started Valley Road that I was in a committed, this is the band I'm in, and this is the one I'm going to focus all my attention to throughout my whole life. This is the first one of those that I've ever been in that it was, this is our band, and this is what we're going to do. And on one hand, I feel like, wow, I wasted a lot of time. Where could I be if I had done this years ago? But on the other hand, I think God had a hand in it, and he knew that Luke and I needed to start this band for whatever reason, and it's just grown from there. And so since we started, we've played from Nashville to the Gulf Coast many times. If you go to valleyroadbluegrass.com, that's our website, you can see some of the liner notes that are left. Marty Raybon left us a really, really nice liner note. We opened up for him 2 or 3 times. We've opened up for Rhonda Vincent and the Rage many times. We've opened up for Steep Canyon Rangers. We've opened for Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. Just, gosh, Russell Moore IIIrd Tyme Out. We've opened it for them many times. I can't even remember all of them that we've opened for. And I got connected with Jana Johnson, who actually connected you and I together. Hi, Jana. and she's just a sweetheart, and she runs her own booking agency, and got hooked with her at the latter part of 19. I think it was probably about October of 19, and within a week, she had us pitched at shows, man, all over Kentucky, from Virginia all the way down the eastern seaboard into Florida, South Florida. She probably had us pitched at 100, 150 shows. And I just couldn't believe how fast she worked. And I told her, I said, well, you know, we all have families and we all have jobs, and we're not ready. We're ready to take the next step, but we're not ready to go full time yet because, you know, for obvious reasons, we all have families to raise, and if your last name is not Skaggs or Vincent, then you know you're probably not going to be making a ton of money, and so we're weekend warriors, but we still wanted to make that next step up and be a go-to band for the larger festivals, and so less of a B band, you know, for lack of a better terminology. And man, she was about to make that happen, and we just, it was kind of a blur. And then February of last year hit Corona, and it just knocked the wind out of all of that. And that's when I think I can speak for the whole band. I believe all of us were praying for the full-time musicians that, you know, they were losing everything, and that was their living, and that's how they supported their families. And I was heartbroken for those musicians and the roadies and the people at the venues and the people that sell the strings and everybody. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people behind the scenes in this music, people just like you. And I was absolutely heartbroken for them. But about month and a half ago, the phone started ringing again, and we're playing shows now. We've got quite a few of them in the books already, and looking forward to the phone to ringing some more. So hope you'll pass that information out.
Absolutely, you're doing it right now, and that's what that's what these podcasts are for. These radio shows, people listen to them on their own time, and then if they find them interesting, they pass them along to somebody else, and hopefully Johnny Goss and the Valley Road gets a little more famous. But you've just said it. If you want to get to the next level, you got to have somebody like a Jana Johnson that in your corner that'll get you there. But maybe some people, such as yourself, are not ready to go on the road, because you're going to give up your family, you're going to give up your home life, you're going to give up, well, that day job, the day job that's, you know, maybe it's not the exact thing that you want to do, but it affords you the weekend that you're able to do the things that you want to do. Maybe you have two different interests. Maybe your day job is great. Maybe, you know, you're making enough money to keep a roof over your head and keep your family fed. And then that weekend job, it fills your soul, you know, with the music. So that's the level that you're at right now. But Jana Johnson wanted to send you into overdrive. And
man, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not very far away from saying go with that. Matter of fact, there's only a couple of things that's keeping me from saying hit that green light. Let's go and do that. But that's okay. I believe God has His hand in it. I believe He has a plan for our lives and our band, and I believe it'll fulfill whatever purpose He has in mind. I certainly hope that's what happens. By the way, thank you again so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface of Johnny Goss, finding out about you. But your faith, it's definitely been a through line over the last 20 minutes that we've been chit chatting. If I'm in the Alexandria, Alabama area, what's a good church I can go to?
Oh gosh, there's a number of churches in Alexandria. Wow, I hate to start naming them off because I'm afraid I'm going to leave some off.
Well, example, the one that you started in when you were 5 and you started doing some singing, maybe with the choir, or was this with the whole group? Where did you start off and get your musical endeavor started here?
Well, I'm a transplant. I transplanted about 20 miles away from here. I grew up in a small town called Hopes Bluff, Alabama, and I started my musical career at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Hopes Bluff, Alabama, and I hope some of the folks from there are going to tune in or accidentally stumble across this. That would be really cool. And then after that, I was working in a music shop and sold the music shop, sold out, and moved about 35 miles away to work, and just kind of left the music behind. I would play it at home or play for friends or family or whatever, but never really played that much after I moved away, and then moved back to Etowah County and started playing music in more places really that I probably shouldn't have been playing. And
why shouldn't you have been playing there? Didn't those people need some entertainment?
Well, I was playing in some bars, and back in those days, the gong shows were really big, and I played at those. But and again, I know God had His hand on me because there's some nights I absolutely shouldn't have survived. I in playing in some of those places, but that was kind of short-lived. I saw that it wasn't for me, and I didn't do that but for a couple of years, and I said, no, I'm done with playing in the bars. So when we started the band, matter of fact, 14 years ago, that was one of the first rules that we came into, and that was we're not going to play in bars. And so for probably the first 10 years, we never, ever played in a bar. And then our dobro player at the time got us a gig for a private party, and it happened to be in a small independent brewery in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And we played there, and it went off without a hitch. But honestly, I had ants in my pants. I couldn't get out of there quick enough. But somebody brought to my attention a couple years ago. I think it was our mandolin player, which his name is Josh Palmer. You can find him all over Facebook and all over YouTube. Josh Palmer Music, brilliant musician. But I believe it was him that said, maybe we should consider start playing in some bars, because we don't make it any secret in the songs that we play. And Josh and I write a lot of the material that we perform. And if you don't know where we stand on our faith when we get on the stage, you will know by the time we get off the stage.
See, some of these people are in these bars and they've lost their way. So maybe you're doing the Lord's work, so to speak.
He mentioned that, and it's really got me thinking again. So the opportunity really hasn't presented itself, but a time or two since then. But I don't know. We'll see.
I get it. I mean, I do bars every week, and one bar in particular. And yeah, there's some nights where, maybe a small fight will break out. Nothing so crazy that I feel, my life is in danger. But there's a lot of equipment that I need to move out. I always was jealous of you guitar players, where you can take a guitar and an amp and you're out of there. The drummer's left behind, with how many pieces. But go ahead.
In our band situation, we've got me on guitar, we've got Josh Palmer on mandolin, we've got the Alabama State champion dobro player. His name's Roman Locklear. On dobro, on banjo, we've got a phenomenal banjo player. His name's Isaac Carroll. And then on stand-up bass, we have Ryan Brown. And he would be the one dragging up the rear trying to get that bass out of there in a case like that. I'm afraid I don't know. He might just leave it and run. I don't know. But
I think in a lot of cases we would run, but yeah, there's a lot of equipment that we got to drag around. People ask me, hey, sometimes I think, am I getting too old for this? And then I'll play a party and everybody will say, oh, you did great, and then, well, maybe I'm not too old for this. I don't know if you've ever felt that once you get to a certain age, like, maybe I should slow down and just go ahead and do my day job and, kick back and watch some hee-haw, and reruns and enjoy myself. You know why I mentioned hee-haw? Because you mentioned that town in Alabama, and I was like thinking, salute.
That's right. Yeah, I grew up on hee-haw.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, one night I was at my little music shop in the Gadsden Mall on a Friday night, and it was late, nobody was there, and this huge man in a really expensive looking coat and hat, and I could see all the diamonds and gold hanging all over him, and I looked at him and he walked past my little shop, and I thought, that was Kenny Price from Hee Haw. And he walked past and I just yelled, Mr. Price, and he turned around and said, hey son, how you doing? I said, good to meet you. And it was Kenny Price.
I don't think I remember that character. Who is Kenny Price?
Kenny Price sang bass in the gospel quartet. It was Kenny Price, Buck Owens, Grandpa Jones, and Roy Clark.
See, the other three names I remember, but Kenny Price, why did he fall to the wayside in my mind? Because I know who Buck Owens is, red, white, and blue guitar. I know who Roy Clark is. I know who Grandpa Jones is. Why would Kenny Price fall out of my head?
He didn't do a whole lot of solo stuff. Occasionally he did. He had a beautiful, beautiful bass baritone voice, and he could play the heck out of a guitar. A lot of people don't know that, but he really could, because he sat and jammed with me for I don't know how long in my shop. But he told me after hearing me play, he wanted me to meet his producer, and that he could help me break into the business. And I was 17, and I was going to be a star and all of that. So I went and made a demo tape and carried it to Nashville when I was 17 years old. And I met with Kenny's producer, and he threw me off to the side to some other guy. And I came back from Nashville with my tail between my legs. I thought it was going to be like the Eddie Rabbit story. You pull into Nashville with $10 and a guitar and you make it big. And no, that didn't happen.
Well, that's a learning experience. But hey, how were you making a demo tape at 17 years old? I'm guessing back in what, 81, 82? 82. Yeah, we're about the same age. I figured that out. So 82, how are you making a demo tape? Tell the kids.
So my mom and dad asked me what I wanted for graduation from high school, and other kids were getting, big trips or cars or, other things like that. And I said, I want to make a demo tape and take it to Nashville. And they said, okay. So I did a little research, and I found a man from Wellington, Alabama, or right outside of Jacksonville, Alabama. And his name was Bob McLeod, and he had a little studio built in his house, and got to meet him, and he was just a great guy. He became a mentor to me somewhat, not only about music but spiritually. He was a very, very, very great spiritual leader. He just recently passed a couple of months ago. But anyway, recorded the demo and took it to Nashville, and I can honestly say I've been thrown out of some of the largest recording companies in the world. So
Oh, that's fantastic. So you actually went to an actual recording studio, because I was imagining a young Johnny Goss with a tape one of those tape players. You press record and play, and
I did that. I did that hundreds of times. Yeah.
But you actually went to a professional that helped you make a really good demo. That takes foresight, and yeah, most kids are wanting a Nintendo or an Atari for Christmas, and here you are. I'd like to make a demo and go to Nashville with it. That says that you had this idea in your head implanted from a long time. Were there any other interests while you were in high school? Or were you a football player, or did you what'd you do?
I played basketball and ran long distance track, and I was terrible at both. All it got me was a knee replacement at an early age, and I'm working on the other one right now. So I've told many people just in the past couple of weeks they're about to tear down my old high school, and I went and visited it a couple of Sundays ago. And I've told a lot of people since then, man, I should have given up the basketball and the track and just practiced guitar more. That's what I really should have done. That was something that I was at least halfway decent at, and so it didn't hurt near as bad.
No, I remember I used to run when I was a kid, and let me tell you, I never got a stride. I was always thump, 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 thump. I mean, I got there. I did a 26-mile marathon one time. You wouldn't see it with my fat face here, but I've done it. But I never really got a good stride like I see some of these people. You watch the Olympics and you go, wow, that is a good stride, man. But I was always so flat-footed, it felt like. And I don't think I have flat feet, but I just felt flat-footed. I'm glad that you ran track and played basketball. You gotta be more than a one track. When I'm my kids, I have two girls, and we're always throwing stuff at her. You want to be a dancer, you want to play piano, you want to just put the tools in the toolbox, and they'll come out with what they want to do. And you came out as a musician. Did you do any talent shows while you were in school?
I did. Matter of fact, I got a picture of one of my classmates' little sisters was there the other Sunday, and she took a picture of me on the old stage in the old gym, and I put that on Facebook, and the caption was something like this by far wasn't one of the largest stages that I had ever played on at that point in my life when I graduated at age 17, but certainly I was probably the most nervous playing on that stage. And I played talent contest back then, and if they had a beauty pageant that they needed somebody to play and sing for, they called on me for that. And of course I was always happy to oblige, because it put me in front of an audience, and it put me in front of a bunch of pretty girls. I'll just be honest with you. And my senior year, the talent contest, I entered it in 3 different categories. I entered it with 3 other guys. We sang Seven Bridges Road in 4-part harmony.
Nice.
I entered it with 3 other guys in a rock band, and I entered it as a solo act. And I played a song that I wrote. And I just recently played that song that I wrote when I was probably, 14 or 15 for my youngest daughter, and I played it for the guys in the band, and they're saying, why aren't we playing that? I thought, well, it wasn't that good. Yeah, we need to be playing that. So we won all 3 sections, whatever, first, second, and third place.
What in the world? Good job. That had to feel real good. I was going to ask you, how the kids felt about you playing your music, and you just told me, Johnny Goss, you're a winner, man. You've been doing it, and you've been striving for greatness. But hey, now tell me about this songwriting. Were you a poet, or was it always lyricist? How did the songwriting come about?
I started writing poems and songs when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. And when I started playing guitar, I realized, hey, I can put music to these songs. And a little girl that was in my class in the 6th grade contracted cancer and passed away when we were in the 6th grade. And so I was still so bashful about singing in front of a crowd by myself. I got my friend to sing it with me, and I played the song, and we sang the song in front of the whole school, and that was probably pretty big turning point in my life. But I got to tell you, this what I got off topic a few minutes ago. I was going to tell you a little bit more about the guys in the band.
Oh, please. Okay. Yeah, no, we'll get it back. Yeah, of course. It's yours.
And I don't mean to change the subject, but I wanted to tell some about the guys in the band. These guys that I'm playing with now, I call them world-class musicians. They're so much better musicians, I think, than some of the stuff that you actually hear on the radio. And I'm not putting down people that you hear on the radio, but facts are facts. And the guys that play in Valley Road, they're really, really talented musicians, and that takes a lot of heat off of me because I love watching one of these guys take off on a hot break, and then the audience just goes wild, and man, that's just such a huge rush for me, just because I call them my boys. They're not my boys, but they are my boys. Mm-hmm. And I love them like they're my boys. And when the audience goes crazy for one of them, man, I'm telling you, I just swell up. Yeah, and it's good feeling.
Well, that's what people have to know about musicians. Is you're a tight brotherhood. They're the best musicians are not trying to stomp on each other. They're trying to lift each other up. And the best DJs are not trying to stomp on each other. The best people are not trying to stomp on each other. We all need to be helping each other up, and that's the whole reason I got into radio back in '86. Yes, that's the 1900s to you and me, kids. I got into it because it was a way to promote people, to become a part of the community, and to help build people up. Yeah, you made your $5 an hour or whatever it was. I don't think radio DJs make much more than that now. It's the notoriety is where the fame that gets them the extra money on the weekends when people want to invite them out. So those that want to be a radio DJ, don't expect to get rich, But and a musician, starving artist is two words that go together quite a bit. So try to have a day job in your back pocket. Have something to fall back on. Your mom and dad telling you, hey, why don't you get something to fall back on? No, I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be a bluegrass star forever. Yeah, and that's all I'm going to be.
Were you listening in on our conversations when I was 16? I mean,
these are my own conversations.
That's exactly the way they went.
But I did want to talk about you turned pain into a song. The little girl that died of cancer, and you turned that into a song. This is something that amazes me, that you can have that idea and your gift that you can give back and keep giving back, because that song lives on forever and ever. And that's how you keep these people alive. What other inspirations have inspired you to make music out of them? I mean, could it be something as simple as I was walking down the street chewing gum? Or, what inspires you?
Honestly, tragedy inspires me probably more than anything. But on the flip side of that same coin, I've been married for it'll be 35 years in September.
Salute.
Yeah, and I know I got married when I was 10. I started to wear my ball cap, and my daughter said, "No, Dad, don't wear the ball cap." But I've written songs about my wife. I've written songs about both my daughters. I've written a song. I have the most beautiful, precious 2.5-year-old granddaughter in the world, and I wrote a song about her. I've written a song about my mom and dad when they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, and then my dad went on to heaven. December was 15 years ago, and I wrote a song about him. And when we do that song at a, say a church or a gospel bluegrass festival that we play, when we do that song, people go nuts, and very, very thankful for that song. So I write songs about my family or people that are really close to me that I love a lot. I've written songs I think probably one of the best songs that I've ever written. I wrote it when I was mad. I was just really, really mad about something. I felt like I had been done wrong, and another large group of people had been done wrong. And so I wrote that song out of anger, and that's probably one of the more requested songs that we do now.
Well,
it's
what's
called
the name
Love
of that?
of Money.
Love of Money. I'm sorry, I stepped on you. What was the name of that song again?
It's called The Love of Money, and it's about greed. The song is about greed. The first song I wrote after we formed the band, Valley Road, is named Valley Road, and it tells a story mostly about my childhood, and then growing up and raising my own family, and just being thankful for what I've been given, and being thankful for a great family. And that song usually goes over pretty well too.
Yeah, you have an actual title song for your band. That's fantastic. And it tells what is Valley Road. Did you live on a Valley Road?
No, actually, the small town that I live in is Alexandria, Alabama.
Right.
And it's known as the Valley. People around here know this area as the Valley. It's a very large farming community. There's lots of farms around Alexandria Valley. And so we thought, well, we all live in the Valley, and we all live on a road, so let's name it Valley Road.
Fantastic.
And that's just how it came, and it stuck. We had thought about changing the name to Smoking Grass or something like that, but we felt like churches wouldn't want us to play there very much if we renamed the band Smoking Grass. And don't get me wrong, we're not a full-time bluegrass gospel band, but we do play a fair share of bluegrass gospel, especially if a church or a gospel festival asks us to come and play. Then certainly, we can accommodate that. But we don't want to be known solely as a bluegrass gospel band, because we want to play at other venues, bluegrass festivals, and like you were mentioning a while ago, we've got a corporate event that we're supposed to play next weekend, and then the weekend after that is Bluegrass on the Rim in Fort Payne, Alabama. And I know you're familiar with Fort Payne, Alabama, because of the group Alabama. and one of the producers of this show, Bluegrass on the Rim, is Allison Owens, which is Randy Owens' daughter. And Pete Conroy, hey Pete, he spearheads this. He's from Jacksonville State University, and we play at the Jacksonville State Education Center at Little River Canyon in Fort Payne, Alabama, for Bluegrass on the Rim, June the 12th. Be there. Everybody come to that. It's a great show. It's a great venue. It's a beautiful place. So just lots of irons in the fire, though, and lots of subject matter to write songs about in our beautiful state of Alabama. Although we would love to play at every other state. That's kind of a bucket list thing. We'd like to see how many states we can play in.
Well, Johnny Goss, it seems like you don't want to limit yourself to the bluegrass gospel, but you do have morals and standards, and there are things that you just won't do, and I can appreciate that so much. You're a good dude, and you're trying to live yourself, right as you see. I'm not saying that everybody needs church, but it doesn't hurt. I guess, it's not a bad way to go. It kind of lifts you up a little bit. You got a good fellowship, good brotherhood and sisterhood that you can get along with. And it sounds like it has shaped your life throughout. That's like the through line. And so bluegrass gospel, you're not limited to that, but your Valley Road, is that the genre that they stick in, or can you expect certain, maybe like little outside, maybe a little country western type stuff out of them?
We play a plethora, I would say, of different genres of music, and we bluegrasserize it, for lack of a better terminology. And some of the artists that actually had the biggest influences on me, we played their music at almost every show.
Example.
James Taylor. We'll do Carolina in My Mind, and people just, shoes flying up in the air. People go crazy when they realize what song that is. But we do it with a more of a bluegrass style. We've done Folsom Prison Blues bluegrass style. We were playing at a private party, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, and we didn't realize what kind of area that we were in, but it was a rough area, and honestly, we didn't know that. And the guy that hired us to play at the party, all we knew was his name was the Boss. And so we had the PA set up. Man, we were going to town, and we were playing a bunch of straight line hardcore bluegrass music, and then all of a sudden the clouds burst and it's just pouring down rain, and we're slinging cables and equipment and speakers and amps and all this kind of stuff into the trailer as quick as we could. And we went into a barn, and we just started playing acoustically. And the boss came and said, "Hey, do you guys can you guys play Free Bird?" And I said, "Well, boss, we're really a bluegrass band, and we don't play Southern rock, but because we're a bluegrass band. Can you think of something else?" And he said, "Well, I put a 50 in that tip bucket, and I've got a 45 in my pocket." And I said, "What key do you want it in?" And we played Freebird. We did. And
what key did you do it in? A. It's a good country key. That's what the Blues Brothers said.
I think we did it in D, but we just wanted to survive that day. So we played Freebird, and we survived.
I've had a lot of people put tips in that jar, and they expect that to be, me to be the human jukebox. I said, that's a tip, not a demand. But I felt those situations myself where, I guess I better do what he says, because I think he's a little tipsy. He's got a little granddad's old cough medicine flowing through his veins.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On that day, definitely, yeah.
But I like bluegrass so much. In fact, I was doing a wedding that was outdoors like that, and funny enough, it rained. Well, I say funny enough, it rained. I got all my stuff into the vehicle, and we went down to the bar that the bride worked at, and that's where we had the reception. But during the ceremony, I was playing some bluegrass, but it wasn't bluegrass, the original. It was kind of like I liken it to reggae, or some of these kids are doing these lounge versions of different songs, where pretty much any song can be made into a bluegrass song if you have the skill to do it. And do you have like this whole party repertoire but in bluegrass style?
No, I wouldn't say that. That's more your Iron Horse band. I mean that's really I think that's their niche, and man, they've capitalized on it and done great. But I wouldn't say that's what we do so much. We'll take a country song every now and then and play it bluegrass style. You're probably not going to catch us doing very much Black Sabbath bluegrass style, or Rush or anything like that. Styx. Probably not going to be doing that bluegrass style.
I mean, I think of Hayseed Dixie, and those.
Hayseed Dixie, yeah, they've done really well with doing that. We're probably not going to be doing that kind of stuff. What we really, if we cover a tune, we try to cover a tune that nobody else is covering, and we try to do it in a way that nobody else does it. That's the way you get noticed, and that's the way you're set apart from other bands. But what we really like doing more than anything is original music.
Yes.
And we like doing that for several different reasons. One is because if you mess up, nobody knows, because that's our tune. And if you mess up, you just say, "Oh, that was a jazz chord we threw in there." Well, that was all on purpose. We did that during rehearsal too, so we can have some fun with it. But the other thing is, what's really cool is, after a while you get maybe a little following, and people come to see your shows when they find out that you're playing live somewhere, and I guess as opposed to playing dead somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, when you're doing an original tune and you look out in the audience and you see them mouthing the words along with you, man, it doesn't get any better than that.
Your own original songs. You got your own fans. So from 14 years ago to now, 14 years ago, what were you playing? Were you playing all originals, or was it 20/80 or 80/20? What were you playing back then?
14 years ago, we were playing 100% somebody else's stuff.
Gotcha. And when did it start to shift?
Probably about 13 and a half years ago. I mean, within the first few months, I started writing original stuff because I saw every little festival that we played at, we heard the same songs over and over and over and over. And not to say that the classics are not great. The classics are fantastic. And but there's only so many ways that you can cover Bill Monroe, Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs. There's only so many ways that you can cover that and it be different enough to stand out. And the other thing is, when you're playing somebody else's stuff, then you hear people say, "Oh, they didn't play that near as good as so-and-so did last night when they played." And so I realized early in our band years, yeah, guys, we're gonna have to do something different if we're gonna get noticed. It's got to be something different and preferably original. And so I was trying to turn out some tunes, and then after we'd been together for about 5 years, Josh Palmer, I mentioned Josh 2 or 3 times. He's the longest running member in the band besides myself. Josh writes incredible music. He's got a solo CD. You guys should buy that on Josh Palmer Music. But it's really good stuff, and he writes stuff that's just way up in the stratosphere, complicated, and it's just beautiful stuff. But anyway, Roman Locklear, our dobro player, has written a really beautiful song, and we're in the process of developing it to get ready for stage. And so that's what we want to be known as songwriters and performers as well. We don't want to be known as a cover band. There's thousands and thousands of cover bands out there, and they're probably uh, until the pandemic, were making a decent living at being a cover band, but that's just not the direction we feel like we want to go, is covering somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, I want Valley Road to be the classics of tomorrow. You know, the people thinking back 20 years from now going, oh, play that Valley Road song. That's a good one. No, and working as we're winding this thing down, where can people find that Valley Road stuff? And I'm glad that you gave a shout out to Mr. Palmer, and he can get his music bought out there on his website. But where do we find the Valley Road music that we need to get to supporting and buying? For, I guess it's 99 cents a piece now is the going rate usually for songs and albums, or what, $10, $20, whatever. But are you actually making albums or records? Or are you putting anything out there?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We did do a CD about 10 years ago, and we've changed personnel quite a few times in the band since then. We've changed a lot since then, and we were just about to get into the studio to do. It was going to be I think it was either an 80-20 or a 90-10 mix of original stuff on a new CD, and that was towards the end of 19, and then of course pandemic hit, and that quite frankly, all the money that we had saved toward making the CD, it got spent. And so,
ain't it the truth, man? Ain't it the truth? I think that first 2-3 months, I didn't have a gig, and I know a few people that were just the same and didn't have really a gig for a whole year until just recently. You say you're starting to get back on the road, but yeah, that'll start eating up your savings.
It did. So we have plans to get into a studio. Matter of fact, we're doing a studio search right now, and I think we've about struck up a deal with a guy. I'm not going to say his name yet, but I think we've about struck up a deal to have him record us, and he's really very, very talented. He's recorded some very well-known bluegrass artists, and so I'm looking forward to getting that done. But you can hear a lot of our music on our website, which is valleyroadbluegrass.com. You can hear a lot of our music on the Valley Road Bluegrass Facebook page. You can go to my personal Facebook page, which is Johnny Goss, spelled Goss, and you can see a lot of our music on those three sources. You can go to YouTube and type in Valley Road Bluegrass. You'll see a lot of stuff that probably I wouldn't even want you to see. Some of it's not all that bad. Most of it's recorded with one of these, at a show, and somebody does that and puts it on YouTube. And you can hit up Roman Locklear YouTube, Locklear, Roman Locklear, and he has his own YouTube page, and he puts a lot of Valley Road stuff on that too.
Well, very good. I'll definitely put all this in the show notes so people can find that and find out more about Johnny Goss and the Valley Road Bluegrass Band. All right, let's go ahead and take this into the garage, but I want you to give shout outs to people that have helped you along the way. You can recall the band and tell the band members and maybe anybody else that has helped you along the way, anybody you'd like to thank, and then we'll shut this thing down for tonight.
Absolutely. Well, the first person that comes to mind is the guy that co-founded Valley Road with me. His name's Luke Ford. Luke has gone in a different direction in his career. He's a doctor now, and he has a beautiful wife and a beautiful baby, and he's just so busy. I don't know how he has time to breathe, but he and I started this together, and so huge shout out to Luke Ford. His dad, Kenneth Ford, we call him Leg. There's a whole story behind that, but he was an original member of the band. And then, all the guys that are playing with us now, Roman Locklear, Josh Palmer, Isaac Carroll, Ryan Brown. Also, my mind's going blank. Thanks again, Jana, for getting me hooked up with Dan today. Oh, wow.
I'm sure they're not going to fault you if you forget one name or two. I mean, yeah, I kind of put you on the spot on that one.
A little bit. One in particular, he's going on to heaven now, but his name's Kirby Parker. And in Alabama, he was absolutely Mr. Bluegrass. And, man, I'm telling you, he mentored our band, really got us a long way. And I miss him greatly, but I'll see him again one day.
Yeah, and you're keeping him alive forever and ever through your music and keeping his memory alive, man. Just the fact that he mentored you, that's what we need to be doing, is teaching the kids of the future. You know, now that you got this information, you send it out to the next generation. That way, this bluegrass will stay alive forever and ever, and music will stay alive, and we'll all do much better, man. It's good for the soul. It really is. But
absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. Well, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. As things progress, as time progresses, if you have any other things to promote, of course, I want you to come back on. It's been a complete pleasure talking to you, Johnny Goss. But I usually finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be something that you heard a long time ago, words to live by. Maybe somebody told you, or maybe you wake up every morning with a mantra and look in the mirror and say, Johnny Goss this, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Johnny Goss, give the last words for the people.
Follow Jesus.
Oh, that was cool. Party people, Johnny Goss. I encourage you to find out more about Johnny Goss. Make sure you step over to valleyroadbluegrass.com and find out more about the bluegrass. Or just add him as a friend on your Facebook feed, Johnny Goss, Goss. Yeah, do it. He's a good follow. And I look forward to hearing more from Valley Road Bluegrass and Johnny Goss, the man himself. So cool. That was a good talk. I knew it was going to be good. And I thank Jana Johnson for putting us together. I knew she was a good promoter. I know I see her on my Facebook feed, but she was about to send them on a 150 show tour. Now, that's quite a bit for somebody who's stepping from weekend warrior to 150 shows. That's a whole nother level. I think everyone could use a Jana Johnson, and I appreciate you so much for putting us together. And I appreciate you for some of the other people that are coming up in the future. So Johnny Goss, excellent, man. Nice talk. And now, I thank you so much for being on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Now, if I'm turning my attention to you, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.